I'm going to tell you right now who I'm predicting to win the Super Bowl, and that's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. The Rams are a super talented team, but I think a couple of things of where the Bengals are going to excel and win. Joe Burrow, I think, been on the stage, a grandest stage already in college football, where he played against some high-powered teams, and he's defeated them convincingly. They have Jamar Chase, who's almost impossible to stop. T. Higgins, who's a great secondary option, and then Tyler Boyd, who's pretty much a number one option on any other team, but he's ironically the third option on this team. Joe Mixon, who can catch and run the ball like crazy. And you have a Bengals defense that overachieves, and I think them putting pressure on Stafford, getting Stafford into making mistakes is going to be a huge key in this. And I also think, too, Joe Burrow is playing with house money. In his second year, he led his team to the Super Bowl, which is only going to make his legacy even better. Matthew Stafford has a ton of pressure because here he is, year 13 in the league, now playing in the Super Bowl. Is he for real? Is he going to crumble under pressure, or is he going to live up to the moment? So for those reasons, a lot of it, in my perspective, I believe that the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl this year in a surprising fashion. I think it's going to be a close game ultimately, but I think the Bengals will fight, they'll claw, and I think they're going to be the ones that come out on top at the end of it.
I don't hate that prediction because as we've been talking about the teams, Cody, you know me. When we talk about fantasy football specifically, I always tell you I never like going after second-year players. If someone has a great rookie year, if they're a great player, they usually will take a slight step back, but it is a step back, and you never know how drastic it can get. And so I never like to chance it. Joe Burrow, what happened to him last year? Not only was it he came into the league, he was a national champion. He was a Heisman Trophy winner, comes into the league. He's the number one overall pick, and he comes into kind of a messy Cincinnati situation. They really struggle. They have a couple of games where they look nice. Joe Burrow, he seems like he's going to be a good player, and then he gets hurt. And so coming into this year, I really still like Joe Burrow, and I actually drafted him in a fantasy league. And I feel like when you have these gut feelings about certain guys, it's one of those things that what every expert talks about, it's the it factor. And Joe Burrow has it. Last year was his rookie year, and he had a good year. It wasn't that he had a really bad year. He was just on a bad team. This year, he had a better year, had a lot of the same players, a few different, obviously, with Jamar Chase. But overall, this should have been a mid-team at best. Mm-hmm. And they have not only overachieved, but they have excelled. And they have made head coaches who are getting signed right now sweating because Zach Taylor got this thing rolling in 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now,
obviously, it helps when you have Joe Burrow, but I don't think your prediction of Joe Burrow, I don't think it's crazy that people are picking the Bengals, especially you. I don't think it's crazy. Mm-hmm. It makes sense. You got to the Super Bowl somehow. Why is that magic all of a sudden going to stop? But I'm going to tell you why. Because I have the Rams. I got to pick the Rams, and it's mainly because of my formula, Cody. I've actually updated it because I think the game of football has changed a little bit.
Oh, okay.
It's more offensive oriented. Defense still matters, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as huge as it once was. What I mean by that is a lot of penalties go the offensive way.
Sure.
A lot of play calls, a lot of the things that just let it go, and then you can look at it. It's more towards the offense, not necessarily the defense. I feel like the refs are quicker to the whistle when it comes to a defensive play. So my thing is always I look at who's the better quarterback between the two, who's the better head coaches between the two, and who's the better defenses. Now I've added 2. Offensive lines have really mattered. Also, I look at what are your overall weapons. So for me, I look at the 2 quarterbacks. I'm going to give it to Matthew Stafford because he's a veteran. You can make the argument for Joe Burrow, and if you do, it honestly still won't change where I'm going to go with this. So I'm going to pick Matthew Stafford because I do believe he is a veteran presence. Yes, this is his first Super Bowl, just like Joe Burrow, but I feel like Stafford has had so many moments in his career where when pressure is on him, it doesn't really scare him. Then I look at the head coaches. You got to give it to Sean McVay. To be fair, has only made it to one Super Bowl, but he's gotten into the playoffs almost every single year. Then I look at the defenses. By a landslide, it's the Rams. I don't think it's even debatable. You look at Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, I don't need to say anymore. Then I look at the offensive line, and I've said it from the beginning. I still feel, and I still 100% believe this, the Cincinnati Bengals have the worst offensive line in this playoffs. And I think that is really bad for the Bengals when it comes to the Rams, because the Rams have a decent offensive line. I wouldn't say a great offensive line, but they're pretty good. And they're way ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals. And then you look at the Bengals having to go against the Rams' defensive line, just the line. Talk about Von Miller, Aaron Donald, and then Leonard Floyd. That's tough, man. That's tough to overcome. And then you talk about who has the better weapons. Now, this might surprise you, but I would actually give it to the Bengals because I agree with you. I think Joe Mixon is a better running back than Cam Akers or Sony Michel. I think Jamar Chase is a star in the making. I would put Cooper Kupp over him, but when I like Odell Beckham, I really do. But I think the combination between, you look at Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and I would put CJ Uzomah on there as well. I think he's actually been a low-key, real difference maker for the Cincinnati Bengals this year. I would put them over Cooper Kupp. Yeah, Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham, they're great, but I don't feel the same about Van Jefferson. I don't feel the same about Tyler Higbee. They're nice, right. But I think as a whole unit, I would pick the Bengals on that one. So by unanimous decision, it would be the Rams. I have the Rams winning this, and it's because of what they have continued to do. I think the Bengals are a great team, and I think they're going to be going on another deep playoff run next year, and possibly getting into the Super Bowl again. Who knows? But they're really going to have to fix that offensive line, and they're going to have to work on that defense a little bit. And I think that's going to be something that they have overcome the last 3 games. I don't think you can do it in the biggest game of all. I just don't think you can overcome that. I'm going to pick the Rams in this.